Chaplain Erika, and I'm a priest at St. Barnabas in Scottsdale. I'm a mom of 3 kids. I'm a weightlifter at the gym when the gym's open, and I like to do puzzles too. So once in a while, a time comes along that challenges us to adjust our expectations, to adjust our outlook a little bit, to reimagine what we believe to be possible, to maybe turn upside down and inside out what we truly feel can be accomplished. Once in a while, a time comes along when we know things are changing around us. Summer's here, but it's totally different. School was totally weird and different. Church, camp, all of this is on computers and tablets and smartphones, and so that once in a while that we know things are going to be different, it's happening right now.
Hi, my name is Chaplain Holly, and I am a priest here in your diocese at our cathedral, Trinity Cathedral in downtown Phoenix. And my husband and I live in Tempe. We mentor a teenage boy. We are parents of a 12-year-old Labrador Retriever, and I'm so pleased to be with you today. Wanted to share a little bit about what we're doing here at camp this year. You know, once in a while, ideas come along that are creative in new ways. They're ideas that inspire and illustrate the world around us in a different light. Ideas that break open a new story and how the love of God can shine brightly in our neighborhoods, in our cyber communities, our churches, our school communities, and in the world around us, and even in our own hearts. And those once in a while ideas, they're taking form. They're being realized and shaped and built right now.
So that once in a while thing, well, really, it's all the time that God is creating people who are complex and generous and creative and artistic and inspiring and funny and challenging and amazing. They're all examples of God's great love in the world. All the time, God is creating people who hit snags, and they respond with sass, with style, and with soul. Those beautiful, clever, offbeat visionaries, they're you. Welcome to Chapel Rock and Summer Camp.
We don't despair when snags hit our lives, because overcoming snags gives us sass, and when we have sass, we get style, and style gives us soul. And having soul does not disappoint, because God has poured out love into our hearts through the Holy Spirit. This is a passage from the letter to the Romans, chapter 5, verses 3 through 5. This is the lesson from the Holy Bible that kind of sets the tone or the spirit for our entire week together. It's just a little snippet of words straight out of our family album. This week we're gonna share stories of girls and women in the Bible who are very much like you. Even if you identify as a boy, or you identify as a girl, or you identify as non-binary. These are people who experience snags, times and events in their lives that are causing suffering and pain, times and events that are more difficult. And what happens to them in these moments, told through their own eyes? We're going to share with you the stories of people who exhibit sass, people who are persevering, pushing through the tough times. We're going to share about people who have style, who exhibit character, who make us go, wow, that person really has it going on. And also about how these same people share their soul with us, their hopes and their joys. These beloveds of God who pour out all the love God has for us and show us ways to weather our own storms and challenges in life. So welcome to summer camp.
Well, hello again. So, do you think you're starting to understand Sass a little more? We're nearly halfway through our passage and halfway through our visits with women of the Bible. We talked about snags and we've talked some about Sass. And each time we've come together, we've shared a bit more about the passages, about snags, Sass, style, and soul. So maybe a bit more about the context of this letter? Sound good? So there's another word, actually, for this kind of letter that Paul wrote. It's called an epistle. It was written a long, long time ago, over 2,000 years ago, to Christians, people who were following Jesus and were living in the city of Rome. Rome was the center of an empire and was very ethnically diverse, with a population of like 1 million people, all living in this tiny 7 to 10 square mile area. It's about as densely populated as Hong Kong is today. Paul wrote the letter from Corinth, and he sent it to Rome via his messenger friend, Phoebe. So these are the final two stories about Sass. They're, again, stories about people who know how to persevere. They have persistence and determination, and they've got real staying power. So we've got our Old Testament, yep. Our New Testament, yep. We're all set. Today we meet Phoebe, who was a missionary and Paul's actual friend, and also Naomi, Ruth's mother-in-law, a great survivor of some real snags. So let's go back in time again and hear from the two of them and what their stories tell us about Sass and perseverance.
My name is Phoebe. I am one of the few disciples, female, in the New Testament who are named. It's because I'm a pretty big deal myself. I'm a Christian, a follower of the way. We didn't call ourselves Christians back then. We said we followed the way, kind of like the way, like the way, the truth, and the life. You've heard that before, right? So for now, yes, I'm a follower, and sometimes that may appear that I'm not leading, but I am indeed a leader in my time. When is that, you ask? Well, now is the 1st century. It's after Jesus has died. I'm a very trusted friend of Paul. You've heard of him. He's done a lot of writing to the churches. He even refers to me as his sister. I bet you understand Sass, don't you? I can feel it in you. I've got Sass too. And I've been sent places that have had to have a person like me set them on task. Like I said, I'm a pretty big deal.
I am Naomi. While Ruth didn't tell you a thing about me, believe me, she has been with me all through our struggles. You will find me in the book that bears her name. I have seen things. I have been widowed and left to fend for myself. I have been traveling long distances in search of a new way of life. I am an Ephrathite. It's difficult to be someone who is different than those around me. Do you ever find that to be the case? Sometimes it's hard to proclaim beliefs that others don't hold. Sometimes it's difficult to share ideas that others can't picture. Sometimes when I have been down, it has been difficult to feel supported and get back up again. I share the quiet sass of Ruth, and that has made a difference for me. This has become me. and my sass has determined my future. And so, the rest of the story. Phoebe, remember she said she was a pretty big deal? Well, she was, and she is. Phoebe is the method by which the letter to the Romans gets to Rome. She was the emissary, the courier, the postal carrier, if you will. As she said, she is from the 1st century, and Paul writes of her in the letter to the Romans. She was a noble woman in the church, and Paul even refers to her as a deacon and as a helper and as a patron. She gives her money to the church. Paul writes, "I commend to you our sister Phoebe, and I ask you to receive her and give her any help she may need." And Naomi? Well, she has been through it, widowed, destitute, and even as she thinks she will have to make the long journey alone, she still makes the decision to travel to her hometown of Bethlehem, where she tells the Bethlehemites, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me." And we find these words in the season of Lent as we do the Stations of the Cross. With the love of her daughter-in-law Ruth, she does not remain bitter. Through her own sass, her own perseverance, her own love, she is revitalized. And that's what it takes sometimes, doesn't it? Phoebe and Naomi both claim their own stories, and they claim their value. Phoebe does so in Paul's community, and Naomi with that of Ruth and her family. It's important to know who we are and whose we are, and then move forward from there. Because you know what? We're all, each of us, a pretty big deal. Hi friends, thank you so much for supporting my happy place and your happy place, Chapel Rock, and our summer camps. And we hope you will like our videos. Click like here. And while you are at it, please subscribe to our diocesan YouTube page. And you stay sassy, Arizona.